Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. That song that you were hearing was quite a hit when we were looking at the Grammys, so you might as well want to take a chance to take a look at that one. The name is Beautiful Things. But let's get started with what we have of interesting today. We're going to be walking through the Agentic Era with Christopher Chan. So welcome everyone to this session. To get you started, I want to give you a bit of an introduction of what this community is all about. So the Marin API community was originated in Madrid, but its purpose is to build this global network of enthusiasts for RPG and application integration. So ultimately, all we want for you to is to feel empowered with knowledge sharing spaces so that you can be better at adapting to solutions. And you can also feel that you have a strong community that is at the back of you. You can always interact with us in different channels via the Google Cloud community. So welcome to this Marin API session of Office Hours and TechTalk. The simple rules that we have for this session is that we're going to be having a deep dive presentation led by a Google expert. Today, we'll be having Christopher Chen. And then at the very end of the session, we'll go to the office hours in which you can bring your questions about the topic that was presented or any other discussions you would like to bring to this forum. We're going to meet every Thursday at this time, except for holidays or other exceptions. And this recording, you're going to find it available via the Google Cloud community. And also in the landing page of this event, you can scroll down and you'll see all the recordings from past year till now. And call to action, as we usually do, if you'd like to be on this stage and share your knowledge with the community, please feel free to reach out. We will be more than happy to have you joining us as a speaker in these sessions. And with that, just a reminder that you can use the Q&A, or you can just drop your questions in the chat, or just easily just raise your hand at the end so that we can go over the questions. Now, for the session today, unfortunately, we won't be having Tyler joining us, but we will be having Christopher Chan from Denmark. He's a customer engineer for RPG and app integration. So welcome, Christopher. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Alex. Let me just share my screen. All right. Can everybody hear me, hopefully?
All good over here. Thanks, Chris.
Okay, yeah, I've got some media here as well, so hopefully it's all going to go well. So fingers crossed, everybody, for that. So yeah, welcome. So today we're going to talk about agents, and agents are the we're in the agentic era, and we're going to talk specifically also about AgentSpace, and maybe more into the AgentSpace than onto the what we normally talk about, which is like RPG and app integration. But we want to give you an intro to that because we want you to understand where RPG and app integration basically, crosses the roads with AgentSpace. So we're going to kind of start from the beginning there, talk about connectors as well, just give you a bit of an overview if you haven't seen a bit already. Now, I've had a bit of a challenge because I can't actually show you too much this week because next week we have our next, and we have a lot of new features being presented next week. So and I think that we have Simon, Alex in a session coming soon, who's going to kind of give you some of the updates on next. So this is just an intro to AgentSpace, and you're going to see all the even more crazy functionality coming in a few weeks' time. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining. Really great I could come here. So right, we're entering now a new era of AI innovation and adoption. So we've had generative AI for nearly 2 years, and we've got into the multimodal phase of Gen AI, right? We all started with just putting in some text, and it generated something amazing for us, maybe an email. And now we're really moving into the multimodal era where there are images, there's video, with Veo, you can just generate video just from text, for example. Then the other part, obviously, which we're going to talk about today is the agentic part. So the agentic workflow, right? workflow, meaning, you know, an agent is actually going through a set of steps and doing things. It's where we're really getting value from that Gen AI, which is why they call 2025 the Agentic year nearly. So we're also entering into a knowledge frontier, right, where employees can use AI and find information. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk more about AgentSpace. Now, what is the big deal? What is the problem? You know, we talk about agents in the media a lot. Well, the problem is that, you know, technology systems have been around for decades. I've been around for decades, and I've seen a lot of these technology systems. And employees, they spend a ton of the time basically searching through these different applications, trying to find the right information on a daily basis. We still do it. I know I still do it, even though I'm using productivity tools. I go into one system, I go into Salesforce to check something. I might go into my HR system. I might use Slack. I might use Google Workspace. I might use Word, Jira. There are all these different applications which you basically swivel chair with on a day-to-day basis, and it takes basically a ton of time. We're just spending our days, we're being paid almost to search for information, right? And this has been a problem for decades. And 89% of employees actually search across up to 6 sources of information daily, right? And I think that number is a lot larger for me. So what to do? Well, you know, how are you going to solve this problem? How are companies going to solve this problem? Well, the original challenge is perpetuated now, because it's not just we're searching on Google. It's not just we're searching in maybe a Google Drive or on some other repository. We need to search. We need to actually use Gen AI to be more efficient in our work. And now we need to use agents. This is what people are telling us. We need to use agents in order to be more productive, right? And how are you going to do all of these things together? It's almost making our daily jobs more complex. And for the IT departments, they're having difficulty to understand how are we actually going to deliver AI and Gen AI out to our employees to make them more efficient. You know, how are we going to build agents? Where are we going to put the agents so people can find them? So, but what if you could actually easily search through all of these things? What if you could easily search through your sales system, your HR system, your financial system, all your files you have in Drive or on SharePoint? What if you could actually ask an agent, you know, what the best thing to do is? Or what if you could ask an agent to read through a document for you and do something? Or what if you could ask an agent to go and send an email for you or compose an email for you based on 3 or 4 different kinds of information? Well, that is basically the reason Google created AgentSpace, to be able to have a central place where you can search, do enterprise search through all these different kinds of applications. And obviously, it's not just about search. Google is about search, but it's about agents, right? It's in the name, AgentSpace. It is designed to be a space for you to have access to all your different agents. And in the beginning, Google starts with our out-of-the-box agents, but it's also supposed to be a place where you find all these different custom agents which your enterprise may build, or maybe some other companies may build, and you want to include those. So one central place for you to search and to also action on a day-to-day basis. Now, how is that possible with AgentSpace? Well, we have, for example, over 100 enterprise connectors directly connected to AgentSpace to be able to do that enterprise search. It could be there are being APIs being called in the background to actually at real time go and invoke and do that search, or it could be there is some ingestion happening. All that's happening underneath the covers with these 100+ enterprise applications with our connectors. And so there are more and more connectors coming, and there's also a way to extend the connectivity to your enterprise systems as well if needed. So enterprise connectors, they're designed to be secure, configurable, and easy to set up. It's something that we want your admins to be able to do and not have to have almost like a developer to do. So this is what they're designed to do. So the connectors themselves are built on already existing technology application integration connectors that we have, and they're just being basically changed a little bit to be used with AgentSpace. And I'm just going to show you a series of short inspirational demos here, as much as I can before next. So hold tight. Hopefully this will... Thumbs up if you can hear sound. Brilliant. So there are all these different connectors that you can use to basically plug in all your enterprise systems. And then when you go into AgentSpace, you can search across them. You can ask questions about them. You can ask the inbuilt agents to go and compose things for you, like emails or calendar invites and things like that. But I also mentioned the multimodal capabilities. So, you know, if you want to, for example, even generate a video or even upload an image and ask, you know, what generate text out of this image, you know, all the things that you might want to run off to Gemini, Core Gemini or ChatGPT or one of these places, you don't need to do that anymore because it's all in the same place. It's all in your central agent space. It's a multimodal support. So you can securely search across all these different 100 plus applications, and that number's just going to grow and grow. Yeah, so enterprise data is the important part there, right? So you're actually able to search across different kinds of information at the same time, have the artificial intelligence to be able to collate things for you. So I have a real demo coming at the end for you, or a video of the real demo, so you can see that, right? So another thing which is included in AgentSpace is some of the other capabilities that you may have heard of. One of those is a very powerful tool called Notebook LM. Notebook LM is a tool where you can actually choose lots of different 300 sources of information and ask Notebook LM to actually provide summaries, or even you can create what's called a podcast. You know, I was showing this to my family the other day and they were like completely amazed that you could actually do something like this, right? Imagine you had 20 different articles that you wanted to understand and you didn't have time. All you need to do is just basically load those 20 different articles into Notebook LM, and in a few minutes you have a podcast where you can listen to in 30 minutes on the way to work, which will provide a summary of the whole thing. And not even just that, you can in live just click and ask to join and actually ask questions on the content as well. And obviously, it doesn't just create a podcast, it actually creates summary documents where you can ask questions about all that content. So again, like super powerful. There is also a similar bunch of agents also which are also included as by default in AgentSpace. One of those is the deep research, which is something similar to Notebook LM because you can have multiple sources. But what it does is actually you almost have like an agent or your assistant going and doing deep research for you. So you could say, for example, I would like you to research, I don't know, why why oranges are more tasty than lemons or something. And it would go out to the internet and look at 60 plus different articles on the internet, and then use the AI to collate them together and create your report. And yeah, super powerful if you need to do research, deep research they call it. And we have more agents that I have time here to talk about here today. So you're going to have those different kinds of agents that can help you. Okay, yeah. So multimodal is that that video is trying to talk about, right? Understanding text, understanding video. You can upload images. It will understand what that is. It will take the text out of there. The images can generate a piece of video for you if you need to put into, I don't know, a marketing campaign or a PowerPoint presentation, something like that. So let's move on to the actual agents themselves, because that's also one of the most important parts about AgentSpace, and where it also dissects to comes in the crossroads with Apigee and app integration. So agents are kind of not a new thing in some sense of the word. I used to work a lot with things like business process management, which is almost like workflows of business. An agent is almost like a BPM workflow on steroids, because you plug in AI into your workflow, and you make your workflow dynamic based on the AI. And you can still connect to different systems using application integration and Apigee, but they allow you to get the work done, because they can plug into all that enterprise data from AgentSpace, but they can also do actions. So for example, the standard actions were like that I mentioned, were to create an email, create a calendar entry, or create a document based on this, or create a marketing campaign. But then maybe you might want to have it to create an action, like for example, create a Jira ticket, or close this opportunity in Salesforce, or something like that. Those are like examples of agent actions. And those are things that app integration can help you with when you're building your custom agents. So there's different kinds of agents. I just want to try and explain this to you guys as well. That it's not just the out-of-the-box agent. So the out-of-the-box agents that I mentioned, like the research agent, that's only one, and Google is going to continue to deliver these very advanced out-of-the-box agents. But it's also a place for you to build your own agents. Now, and next, we're going to be talking a lot about building your own agents and new ways that you can build your own agents. And there are already some ways you can build your own agents inside GCP. For example, Agent Builder, where you can go in and you can create an agent using prompting and AI. And those agents can also connect to different data sources, like Salesforce instances or databases, if you use app integration, right? An example of that is creating maybe an integration to a database using a database connector, using application integration, and then you can basically create an open API spec, which then you can plug into your for example, Agent Builder, and then you're going to be able to plug that agent that you create in Agent Builder into Agent Workspace, so you can invoke it directly from there, right? That's one example of creating an agent. There's also an agent framework. I think I might have a slide about that as well. So there's multiple ways for you to build your own agents. We're making it easier and easier for you to do that within GCP. But we want to be also an open platform, just like Google is an open platform. So we also give you the possibility to bring and activate third-party agents coming soon. More details of that coming up at next. So again, if you have an agent running on Salesforce using Agentforce, or you have a Crew AI agent, or if you have something running on Microsoft and you want to plug that in, why shouldn't you be able to plug that in and use that in AgentSpace? So there's going to be three sources, or there are already three sources. There's the default AgentSpace agents. There's a Google pre-made agents, and then build your own agents. So more details coming. And then again, what's important to understand that an agent is almost like a brain in a bottle, right? It can't do anything without data. And where do you get the data for? You have to be able to connect to your data, and it can't do anything. It can't action unless it can connect to something to tell it to do that action. So that's where Apigee and app integration comes into its own with the other hundreds of connectors where we can connect to these systems to these many systems. And when you need to, for example, create an action on some of these enterprise systems where there isn't a connector yet in AgentSpace, that's where you can use app integration to do that and expose it as an open API spec, publish it potentially into API Hub, into the repository, and then consume it from there, right? And here's more of an architectural diagram of what that kind of might look like underneath the covers, right? So if you imagine AgentSpace is your place for all your different agents, your out-of-the-box agents, but maybe you want to build a custom agent, and that custom agent, for example, has to be able to speak to Salesforce or speak to Oracle or something like that. So imagine you use application integration there, you create an integration flow to connect to that system. You can expose it either directly to some of the agents builders inside AgentSpace, or you could potentially wrap that inside an Apigee Open API specification if you wanted to have an API first way of creating these actions. And then optionally, you could plug that into Model Armor if required. And Model Armor is a way for you to sanitize your prompts if you need to invoke large language models directly from your agents. So, but that's a completely different discussion about how to build agents and how to connect to different systems using agents. But what I want to come away from this session here today is that in order to have actionable agents and agents that can connect to your third-party data sources, which may not be in AgentSpace, you're gonna probably need to have a connectivity with application integration or something else. So privacy and security is also super important part of AgentSpace as well. I'm not going to go into big details about this, but role-based access control, this also works on the connectivity side with the connectors. So the connectors have the capability to understand who it is there is asking. So for example, if myself, Christopher, is asking for something, then I should only be able to see those files in Google Drive that I have access to. Or I should only be able to see the opportunities inside Salesforce that I have access to. So role-based access control on the connectors side, obviously on the normal user basis, role-based access control, but data residency and data I can't even say that word, never, sovereignty, whatever, you know what I mean? That's also a super important part of AgentSpace because it's obviously running on the GCP infrastructure, so that comes with it. Okay, yeah. So one-stop shop for first-party and third-party enterprise agents, multimodal, Google quality search across your enterprise data. Okay, and now we run on to the retail demo. So hopefully this one works. This one's a little bit longer, What I want to show you is more like a little bit of an end-to-end demo of working inside AgentSpace and what that might look like.
Today, I'm going to be showing you an example of how a retailer could use AgentSpace, Google's new enterprise AI agent builder and orchestration platform. Employees across your business can use AgentSpace to search and complete tasks across internal and third-party application data, supported by strict access control policies and protected by Google's world-class security. AgentSpace is designed to help retailers streamline operations across every part of their stores and organization, from automating workforce management and inventory tracking to sales optimization and data reporting. So let's say I'm a manager for 3 retail clothing stores in Mountain View. I start my mornings by checking up on my stores to help them optimize their sales and hit their goals. So I'll type into the search, show me the annual sales report for my stores in Mountain View. AgentSpace then shows me the annual report for these 3 stores. I have permissions to view these reports since they're in my region. If AgentSpace determines I don't have permissions to certain documents, like reports for stores outside my region, it won't show them to me. For today, I want to focus on store 157 this morning. So I'll click on this report and add it to my session context. Now, it's a busy season and stores might quickly run out of inventory. I'm going to ask AgentSpace to check on store 157's stock. So I'll tap into the field, give me the latest inventory report for store 157, and I'll hit send. AgentSpace has referenced the spreadsheet and a complete list of connectors that it has access to, including Square inventory reports, which provides real-time product data. Based on its findings, it looks like these 3 items need to be restocked. It proactively created an alert in the inventory system for store 157. And look, it also reminded me that I've got some PTO requests that I need to address. So I'll go ahead and I'll address this PTO request at store 157 before I forget, so that Aisha's schedule is covered while they're gone. This is a lot easier now because I can ask AgentSpace to automate this process using a custom AI agent pre-trained in scheduling and workforce management called ScheduleBot. So I'll type into the field and invoke ScheduleBot and ask it to create a new staffing schedule to ensure that Aisha's shifts are covered. I'll go ahead and hit send. ScheduleBot has come back with a new schedule where multiple associates are asked to fill in on days that Aisha's out. Everything looks good as far as the coverage is concerned, so now I'm ready to move forward with this PTO approval. But I'm pretty new in my role, so before I approve this request and this new schedule, I'll choose AgentSpace to double check my organization's HR policies to make sure no one else needs to approve. So I'll tap into the field, show me our PTO policy and tell me if any other managers need to approve this PTO, and I'll hit send. Great. Looks like I'm the only one who needs to sign off. So this PTO request is approved. Now that this is taken care of, I want to get back to checking in on store 157. I'm going to see what the most popular online products are and if I can improve their visibility in store. So I'll tap into the field. I want to change products we're displaying near the front of the store to increase sales and help to hit quarterly KPIs. What products should I highlight? And I'll send that. AgentSpace provides me the answers as well as resources I'm able to know where these recommendations are coming from. So based on sentiment analysis from our store's online reviews, insights from Instagram, these are the 5 SKUs that it recommends we stock near the front of the store in high traffic areas. If I want to see the resources where pull these recommendations from, I'll click on the link icon and be able to see it on the sidebar. AgentSpace also went ahead and created a planogram and a VEO generated video, which team members at store 157 can access to show them how to arrange these items for optimal viewing in the store. Now, I want to know what else I can do to improve my sales and margin. My manager's been asking me to track our quarterly KPIs more closely and capitalize on revenue opportunities. So I'll go ahead and ask AgentSpace to create a quarterly report for additional ways to optimize sales and margin through forecasting, analyzing foot traffic in store, and suggesting staffing optimizations. So I'll click into the bar and ask it to help me create a report for sales data for this quarter. And I'll attach a quarterly KPIs metrics file that it can reference so it can provide the right optimizations based on the criteria in the spreadsheet. So I'll go ahead and upload. And I get back a lot of interesting recommendations, which I'm excited to implement. But before I do that, I should probably run them by my regional manager for more input. So I have AgentSpace draft an email with a link to the report that we can edit and collaborate on asynchronously. So I'll type into the field, create a link to the report, and draft an email to my manager summarizing recommendations and asking for input. And I'll go ahead and send that prompt. AgentSpace's long context window remembers all the insights found and the files we've created so far that are relevant to this request. It'll help me draft the email and package up any important files and documentation so that I can get validation from my manager on this strategy for next quarter. I review the email and everything looks good, so I hit send and I move on to optimizing for my next store.
All right.
Thank you, Chris. Oh, quite handy. What a timing. We had a comment from Juan. Do you want me to read it for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the comment is, this looks amazing, but I can see how Apigee has to do with anything shown so far. Anything we can share on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So like the AgentSpace stuff is very cool. Yeah, I think what I was trying to say in one of the previous slides, like here, for example, in order for your agents to actually action things. So when you create a custom agent, your custom agent has to do stuff. And in order to, well, it needs to invoke a tool. You call it a tool, and the tool is basically quite often an API, right? Which is why we say, there's no AI without APIs, or there's no agents without APIs. And so that API has to be kind of built, right? So it needs to exist already. So that's where Apigee can come in, right? So if you have an open API spec that is registered in API Hub, doesn't have to be an API Hub, but then that open API spec you would use as a tool in order to, for example, execute that action or get some data, right? If that makes sense.
We have another one from Salvador. I'm gonna read that to you. Can these AI agents connect directly to BigQuery without the need for customer API to access the data? Are they capable of performing complex queries based on the database schema, or do they require prior training or configuration? I'd love to understand more about how they interpret schema and generate queries dynamically.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit too detailed on the BigQuery side for me, but I believe there is a BigQuery connector. I think, yeah, I'd have to ask somebody else a bit more details on that specifics to get that answer, I think. But it's more like, I think you want to run some kind of custom query in order to get some specific kind of information. Yeah, so I think yeah, I don't know the answer for that. If Alex note it down, I can try and get back to you. So I think, as I said, I think there's native connectivity with BigQuery. The other option obviously is using something like application integration, where application integration has a native connector to BigQuery, where you can certainly execute those custom queries and invoke that in some kind of agent or something like that, right? again, the power of AgentSpace isn't just the enterprise search and the embedded agents. The power will be the agents that your enterprises will actually create, and you can plug them into your enterprise data sources to get custom information or execute actions. Yeah, but I'll get back to you.
Thank you, Christopher. I'll make sure I connect and so that I can wig up the follow-up response to Salvador. And thanks for the question, Salvador.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, very nice question.
Yeah, we have another one from Sarat. Could you clarify the difference between having subscription for Notebook LM Enterprise and AgentSpace Enterprise and AgentSpace Enterprise Plus as described in documentation at Google Cloud? Which one of them is general availability and allowed list or preview? Could you provide clarity around this? Thanks.
Yeah, I don't have details, unfortunately, on the pricing and availability, and on there are different tiers on the AgentSpace where there's where the Notebook LM and Notebook LM Pluses are included. I know you can buy it separately as well. So, but again, if Alex would be so kind to note down that question, I'll get an answer for you on that.
You got it, Chris. And thanks for the question. So if anyone would like to raise your hand and open your mic, please feel free to do so. Again, remember, this is an informal space for us to be able to interact with the community. So we'd love to hear you. In the meantime, Chris, why don't we give them a bit of more details about what they can expect up next?
Oh, yeah. Is anybody going to next? Yeah, in details about from AgentSpace, or yeah.
I can go ahead and share the details. I think I already shared with you the link where you can find the session library specifically for AppG and app integration. But let me share that with you again in the chat in case you missed it. So we look forward to see you there. We're going to be having quite a lot of exciting updates around AppG and application integration, as well as AgentSpace, like Christopher walked us through. So in that link, you will be able to find the demos, the showcases, and the breakout rooms where you will be able to join us at next. And so we also see in social media some updates for the most exciting sessions. You can join us. And we look forward to see you there. We will be sharing more details via the Google Cloud community for those who might not be able to join in person. And I see another question from Sharat. Can I read that to you, Chris? Does Cloud Skills has learning path to explore integration application functionality?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So I can send some links to that. Yeah.
Yeah. If not, you can look for a post within the application with the integration services forum in the Google Cloud community. Over there, you'll find a pinned post with the link to access this Skills Boost course. But yeah,
you can just search for, actually, if you go into Skills Boost and search for integration or application integration, you'll find quite a few there, I think.
Yeah. Give me just 1 second, and I'll just share that with you so that you can have it in handy. So thanks for that question as well. Alrighty.
Control tools, they use that through.
In a bit of a wrap up, these are the articles, the latest articles we have shared in the community for you. We have 2 articles from Christopher Duncan, one to how to secure your AI APIs with AppG and Model Armor, and one so that you can take a look into application integration in the next generation of AI-driven integrations. And the other article by Joel on how to monitor Cassandra nodes using the status in AppG Hybrid with Prometheus. Whenever we share this deck with you via the Google Cloud community, you're going to be able to click on the hyperlink so that you can have easy access to these resources. And we love your feedback within the content. So if you'd like to engage in either of these articles, you can leave questions to the authors or just share your thoughts on those.
It's fine though. I just noticed a question inside from Salvador. He asked, could these AI agents be exposed in a customer-facing application where we define specific controlled data sources per user through secure authentication? The idea would be to allow differentiated access to data based on user profiles. For example, exposing a simple text box where the user asks for a question and the agent responds dynamically based on the authorized data. Is this possible, and how would you secure data scoping be handled, right? So Salvador, that is something I've heard before at a couple of customers that we're working with at the moment. And that's a perfect use case where you might want to have Apigee basically in front of that agent. So an agent is basically just like a client that's calling a data source, right? So if you use Apigee to authenticate that agent based on the user, then you can have an authorization based on that particular user, and then that authorization would have access to certain data sources, and then Apigee could then direct to those data sources based on the authorized data sources that they're allowed to connect to. So the short answer is yes, you could do that with Apigee. Sorry, Alex.
No, thanks to you for going to the question. All righty, guys. Well, then, just now we can start the wrap up. I left a quick poll for you in this meeting. So if you can go to the poll and give the feedback for the event, that'll be really valuable to us. And nothing more left to say but to thank you to Christopher for this great presentation. We look forward to all these exciting updates that we'll see soon and after next. As usual, keep engaging with the Google Cloud community. We'd love to see you engaging there. I'll do the follow-up for your questions via the forum, so keep an eye on that. I might as well flag those to you via email too, so you can keep an eye on those. And then you can also check the product article sections. Like I shared previously, we have a lot of incoming content shared for you that we'll love to share. And then for those in the community in Madrid, we look forward to see you this upcoming Monday for the Spring Encounter in line of the International Women's Day. We look forward to see you there. And as usual, we see you next Thursday at the same time in these office hours. Last but not least, if you have a chance to please share your feedback at this API distribution and portal survey, that will be really valuable to us. This feedback is going to be shared with the product team, so you will be able to shape the future and how we do things around here. So with that, again, thank you, Christopher, for this great presentation, and we look forward to see you all soon. Have a nice day.
Thanks, everybody.